All right, guys, so we're back, and this one's an interesting episode. Now, we've got one of the best defenders here to ever play the game.
And Rio Ferdinand.
I don't usually give you the big props. I like arguing with you, but behind closed doors, I'm bigging you up, man.
Appreciate it.
Like, you've played with some of the best coaches at Man United. Who was the best coach that you played under? Because obviously we know Fergie's running the show, but you said something very interesting. He didn't take a single training session when you were at Man United.
Yeah.
Who's taken him, and who's the best at it?
So Fergie never took no sessions. He obviously done the talking and the setting up of the session with his coaches before we went out and trained, and then we'd go out there and he would just stand on the sidelines and observe individuals, the team, situations, etc., the mood, etc., the pace of training, the intensity.
Is he speaking at all in this, or is he very silent?
He's speaking to his bookie about which horse he's backing. That's
But he's not
that's the person he has.
training.
That's the person he has most conversations with. Every now and again, before the session start, he might gather us in and go, "Listen, guys, it might be a big game at the weekend or something, or after a result. Listen, guys, that game's out of your system now. Training now. I want a hard session. It's going to go Rene or Carlos, whoever's putting it on, and then go like that." So it wasn't. He wouldn't be talking too much about the detail. And then I had two coaches really at Man United that Mike Phelan was always there, but Mike Phelan was more for the manager, really. I think he was his like eyes and ears and understanding and checking, maintaining of standards and things like that, and just making sure the manager was abreast of everything, the little details that was going on, the subtle things.
That doesn't sound like coaching to me.
No, but there's different types of people within the coaching system, and I think his role was a lot like that. He wasn't really someone who took a lot of sessions either, but he was there and he was the eyes and ears, and the lads are all right, maybe you want to take the session down today, I've seen them, they look a bit tired in the change room, and he'd go back up and tell the manager.
He's supposedly a bit
like
more
that.
like a director of football-ish sort of role, and he took that on the Australian team he was with, didn't he?
I don't know about that, but he was just, again, like the eyes and ears of the manager, and which I didn't understand at the beginning, but then by the end I did, with age and maturity. But then the two coaches that coached me at Man United really were Carlos Queiroz and René Meulensteen. And René Meulensteen, they're both very different. And Carlos was probably the balancing act for the manager, who was a bit of a maverick and would smell a situation, the manager, and just go with it, go with instinct. And you had Carlos, who was very much more pragmatic and go, "Oh, actually, let's think about this. This situation is going to happen in the game. Let's bide our time and let's set ourselves up so we're solid and we're strong. But we've got the great players who can." And he was brilliant. The best manager I had for transition. Like, we'd done a lot of sessions that were just repetitive, boring in the end, but repetitive sessions that were just based about we win the ball and then about going into to the heart of the other team. And killing them with movement and rotations and
So
playing the ball forward.
Winning in several different areas of the pitch, and then where does everyone
go? And the first ball invariably had to be forward. Because you can win the ball and people say you're going to transition, but if the ball don't get played forward or it's not a runs forward, it's not transition really into attack. It's just transition into retaining the ball. It doesn't hurt no one. Carlos was about getting the ball and creating opportunities, hurting teams either through the middle of them in the heart where they're weak or around the sides. And he was what he was good at was creating real clarity around situations in games, really making you understand what you need to do to be a hard team, to be a powerful team, to be a team that creates chances and weakens teams. And if you look at the team when he was the coach, we were really resolute. Mm-hmm. We could fight anybody. We could run against anybody, and we could play against anybody.
I see your brother, when he came onto the channel during the Euros, he said that Roy Keane, when he analyses a team, if he looks at a player and the player isn't playing the ball forward, he's not having none of that. Was Carlos the same? Do you reckon Roy adapted some of his mentality through being coached by him? Or do you reckon that's just a Man United thing?
I think that was just a Roy Keane thing. Roy Keane was one of the best passers in terms of getting the ball and whipping it into the front man. People don't associate Roy Keane with passing, but his little balls into the front areas and then following the ball, he was ridiculous at that. And but Carlos was just and he was someone who would just see something in your game in training and just pull you to the side. You always see him talking to someone, every now and again, just he'd have his little conversation. And even me, a little tweak in my training, and he was about me running through the team, like to open my legs. He says, like, you can't just turn on a sports car and expect it to be able to purr and to run at full
Rio's
pelt.
favourite word, purr.
Yeah, to run at full pelt and run at full speed and run efficiently if you haven't tested it a few times and kept it running at that level. So how do you expect to do that on a Saturday if in the training sessions you're just sitting at the back chilling and just passing and looking good?
So
Sometimes
drive
and hurt yourself, pass it wide and run through to try and get on the end of something. Not that you're going to do that in a game, but then open your lungs up, open your fibres up in your legs. And then it was like little details like that, and you think, actually, yeah. So I'm not going to get niggly injuries now because I'm doing it. My body's used to it. It's not something that's not abnormal on a Saturday.
Did you see it at the time? Or
No, I thought he was chatting rubbish. I thought this guy's chatting breeze. I'm like, what is this he's talking about? And then all of a sudden you think, actually, I started doing it, and my fitness levels go up a little bit as well. When I do it in a game and I have to make a big 30, 40, 60-yard run, I'm not breathing out my arse. Little things like that, and then. But he was really good for being serious and being focused as well. And then all of a sudden you flip it over and he leaves and Rene comes. And Rene's a maverick.
Before we get stuck into Rene, I've got a couple of questions on Carlos. So I remember an interview when he took over and he said, Manchester United like a world-class sprinter. He goes, and I'm not trying to take someone down from 15 seconds to a 10-second 100-metre. He goes, I'm trying to take them from 9.89 to 9.88. And he was like, that's how the improvement is going to be.
Margins.
And it stuck in my mind that as a really good quote about what he was trying to achieve. The other question was, did he ever talk about what his theory had come from, and was it tactical periodisation?
What's tactical periodisation? What's that?
I'll have to get you the book on it. But it's a Portuguese sort of base philosophy. Mourinho derives a lot from it. And it's about that the game's basically in 4 different situations. Attack transitioned into defence, so you've lost the ball. Defence transitioning into attack, so you've won the ball. And then game state of attack and game state of defence. So it's basically the game's just rotating through those 4 states constantly.
He never explained it anything like that, but I can see there's some traits of that in the way he was. Transition was the biggest thing for me that he had, and then it was about runs, how to attacking players. Even if you're the right back, whatever, if the forwards aren't one of them stretching the opposition, even if it has to be you on that side, you go. Whoever it is, someone's got to stretch your position to create the space for the number 10 maybe or whatever. So he was just very black and white. There was no grey areas, and you never went into a situation unaware of things that were going to be thrown at you. He tried to cover all bases like that of detail, which was brilliant. And then you flip over to Rene, and Rene was very, very different. Like I say, he's a maverick. He's someone who loves attacking football, possession. All his training sessions are about maintaining possession. If you're trying to get in there, recycle the ball, come out the other way until you find a gap to play forward and vertical balls. Always keep the ball, create chances. And I remember the season when we beat Arsenal, was it 8-2 at Old Trafford?
What was that?
Yeah, you heard me.
That
season, we were, I think on average, I'm going to try and get the stats for this, but we were creating something like 15, 16 chances a game. Like crazy amount of chances. But we were conceding.
But you won the league that year, though.
Yeah, but we were conceding ridiculous amounts of chances. It might have been conceding like 10, 12 chances a game, and winning games 4-2, 8-2, 5-3. Like so many different like scorelines. So the stability and the balance of the team was obviously wrong. Then I remember the manager calling us in for a meeting and going like, "Listen, we're going to tighten it up now." And blah, blah. And then all of a sudden he just put the reins on a little bit, tweaked it, and then we obviously won the league.
Who put the reins on it?
The manager, Fergie, yeah.
Okay.
Which is not a Fergie thing.
It's not normally something that he'd done, but he saw it and just thought, right, this is my, I have to do it now. But Rene was a great coach. He was brilliant for one-to-one stuff. That's how he first got into us. He obviously came in and started implementing the coaching manual at Man United, but then with Danny Welbeck and Jesse Lingard as kids, doing it from that age upwards. And then he started doing one-to-ones with Ruud, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I started doing stuff with him. He was the best one-to-one coach I've ever worked with, yeah. Just doing a lot of game experience training. So like you visualising the game, the ball comes to you and someone's on the move somewhere and you've got to find them and get that. It's an in-game situation that you're going to come across all the time. So stuff like that was brilliant for me.
And that's why you say that your intensity, one of the feedback that you give young kids watching, you always say to train as if it's a real game situation.
Yeah.
Is that where you got that from? Or
No, I had that before that, but he was, again, when you get it, not this taking the touch, looking where he is, he's made the run on it. It's like the ball comes, you looked before the ball comes, touch, bang. And it's like, so when the situations come in a game, you ain't surprised, you've seen it. But René was really, he was just so different to Carlos, but still really, really good. I loved working with René. His sessions were always thought-provoking. There was always a basis of like, this is going to come in a game. This is what we need to do. And again, if you do this, we'll get opportunities. Maybe the balance sometimes from attack and defence wasn't as probably fine-tuned as someone like Carlos. But all the same, we were successful when he was there as well.
5 titles in 7 years or something.
With who?
René.
Yes, I'm not sure of the numbers, but if that's the truth, you're not normally wrong with your stats, are you? But he was good, man, and he was, and he had, you know what he had, René? He had
Rio at the back shitting because it's 2 all attack.
No, but you know what was great with René? What was really good about him is his energy every day, man. That's you can't put a price on an importance of energy, the right high energy levels.
First time we had him in for a podcast in here, the first time we've met him, he's got his feet on the desk. Chilling.
Yeah. Nice. That's him.
This is Steve's line. We need to get him back in. I would love to sit down and have a chat with us. And I know you've had a chat with him, but with you inside, I think that's just going to
he would do it
bits.
as well. René, man, come on. I'll shout at you when you come in.
Yes. You know what? Thanks for that insight. We don't usually get the insight. I was keen on doing this because we've been...
Before we wrap that up, was there anyone with England or West Ham or Leeds that stands out as a technical coach?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's very different. So like when I was at West Ham, obviously Harry Redknapp's the manager and stuff, but a guy called Frank Burrows at West Ham was an unbelievable coach. When I was just become my first, transitioning from a squad player to a first team player at West Ham and then started playing. He was the reserve team manager. Okay. He was a Welsh guy. I think he was Welsh or Scottish. Welsh. Frank Burrows. Shout out Frank Burrows. And obviously, as a kid, I was a midfielder, attacking midfielder, scoring goals, creating chances. And then I got converted as a 14, 15-year-old to centre-back. So
how badly did you set that, by the way, at the time?
I didn't want to do it because I wanted to score goals. I wanted to be the star.
Yeah, because your brother told us that you had some game against Chelsea that you've never told us about. He goes, well, yeah, I ever told you the story. Apparently, you was doing bits at Stamford Bridge, number 10, badding it up.
Yeah.
Tearing it up.
It's mad because, say, for instance, that game, I had to come from school. So it's like an under-18s cup final for West Ham against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Massive game. I left school, got the tube and the train to Chelsea, go to the stadium, meet the team who come on a bus. I couldn't get there to get on the bus, and I get there. Frank was a young lad as well. Frank's a year older than me in school, so he played. I was a year younger than Frank.
So you're 13, 14, playing 18?
I was 15.
15.
And then I play, and I did bad it. I was good. I was good that day, and I felt the first time in my life where I went, I'm going to make it. Because I was playing against some 18-year-olds who made their debut already for Chelsea or been on loan, played first-team football.
Got you.
And I felt I was the best player on the pitch.
Yeah.
And I knew from that day, I thought, I will make it. I don't know where, but I continue working like I am, I will make it somewhere. And Harry Redknapp tells a story that his dad went to that game and his dad rang him on the way home and said, have you seen this kid Ferdinand at West Ham? And he went, no, I don't even know him. He said, this kid, you've got to go, you've got to see him. He's unbelievable type
Was
thing.
he at Bournemouth at the time?
No, West Ham, Harry was.
Was it?
Harry was West Ham manager, but he hadn't really heard about me. He hadn't heard about me yet. And then I
You
played.
going on loan at Bournemouth then?
Because he had links at Bournemouth.
Right.
And then I come into the training and then I got in and then Harry just loved me and just gave me the massive amount of confidence. So Harry was like, for me, was brilliant. Not in terms of coaching, but in terms of giving me confidence.
Got you.
I'd go on a pitch and I'd hear him saying things like, look at him. He's a Rolls Royce. And I'd hear it. It's like he meant to make me hear. But he used to always say the one thing to me, I don't mind you making mistakes. Make them. It's fine. Make mistakes. Just don't make the same ones all the time.
Wow.
So, and at that point in my career, my game was based about taking on the centre forward. Get me the ball and let me just do a skill and drive out with the ball.
So
that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah,
that's all I wanted to
that.
do. Yeah, that's all. If the ball got played in the channel, I would want to show my pace, get there, and then I'd want to beat the forward, and then play.
So what skills there do you show? Obviously, you look like you're going to be an attacking threat. What makes who was the coach that told
Tony
you?
Carr, the centre back didn't turn up for a game. at Chad Relief, and then he said, Rio, you go and play centre-back. And I was like, what? Played there. Next week, the centre-back's back. Rio, you still playing centre-back. Carried on for about 6 weeks, and I ended up saying to him, listen, why am I keep playing centre-back for? You think you've got a good chance of being a footballer. You've got a better chance of being a professional footballer playing there than you have in centre midfield.
Wow.
And when he said that was good enough for me. I said, okay, I'm going to try. So going back to Frank Burrows, he instilled all the fundamentals in defending for me. He used to take me out after training and get a goalkeeper, Jerome John. Shout out Jerome John. He was the youth team keeper at the time, and he'd kick 20 balls off the floor or out his hands, and Frank Burrows would stand there, come rain or sunshine, and say, Rio, as the ball's coming, jump through me. I'm going to make it awkward, but just jump. I just jump up and try and smash him. Old guy, but solid, strong guy, old school. And he'd just kick balls out, and I'd have to head them, clear them, bring it down, play it out wide. Like, he'd just do all the 1v1 defending, make me do loads of stuff like that. And he was brilliant for me. Really, really good.
Is he still with us?
No, I'm not sure. I've not heard from him for years.
Talking and hearing about how you went from being a number 10, because I don't know if you know, he was all right at defending. Pretty good, like. To get those fundamentals, because when you broke through, I mean, you was in the England squad early, you was a British record transfer early, you was a world record transfer for a defender for United. Like, you did all that in your very young 20s. Like, that wasn't... I
know what you mean. You know what? It's weird. My instinct actually was as a defender. My first ever season as a kid, Sunday League football, played for my uncle's team, Bloomfields. That season, I played centre-back, the first season. And then I went into midfield. But at school, I was always midfield attacking. But
you always put the best players midfield, though, whether you're a striker, a winger, or whatever.
But then I was playing midfield, but I was playing centre-half in the first ever season I played, but at school I played in midfield, and then all of a sudden I started playing midfield and stayed there. But I just think I just had a natural instinct of where to be and where to run to cover people. That was my main instinct as a defender. I knew how to cover, knew where the danger was, could smell danger before it come. And then all the other stuff like heading the ball, defending crosses. The fundamentals that a lot of defenders now I see are lacking, I worked hours on.
Wow.
Hours in training pitch in the sleet and snow and wet and windy conditions at Chad Relief. And then when I went to Leeds, I remember saying to David O'Leary on the phone before I signed, I don't want to talk about money, I just need you to tell me you're going to coach me. You're going to make me better. He said, Rio, I'll coach you where all the biggest clubs in the world want you.
Wow.
And that's all I wanted to hear. And that's what I said, thanks, I'm coming, I'm signing.
So he knew, so I'm trying to wrap this video up, but you just keep giving me gems. So he knew that you weren't going to be at Leeds for a long time. No,
David O'Leary said to me on the phone, he said, if you're here for more than a couple of years, then you haven't done your job and I haven't done my job.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's big stuff. We're going to carry that on in the Leeds segment another time. Thank you very much, Rio. That was brilliant. Man. Anything for the comments?
Millions, but I'm going to leave it there with that one. Just let us know what topic would you like to see Rio cover next?
Yeah, it's true. That's what we need to do, isn't it? We need to ask the people, what do you want us to talk about, man?
It's true.
Put it in the comments. Keep your notifications on. Make sure you subscribe. Tell your mates, a mate, and your mate's mate, and your family to subscribe, and we'll get more to you.